I want to start today by taking you to um, a very specific moment in time.
Okay, set the scene.
So it's 6 a.m. or, maybe 6:30. It's dark outside. The alarm on your phone goes off.
Oof, the worst sound in the world.
Right. And in that split second, before your feet even touch the floor, a literal civil war breaks out inside your brain.
Oh, the morning battle. I know it intimately.
On one side, you've got the general, and this voice is just shouting, "Get up! Crush the day! Go for a run!"
Listen to a podcast at double speed.
Exactly. Just be productive.
And then, on the other side.
On the other side is the resistance, the side that is warm and comfortable and buried under a heavy blanket, and it just says, absolutely not.
The world is scary.
The world is scary. Stay here. Sleep for 10 more minutes.
It feels like such a small, kind of trivial choice, right? Snooze or wake up.
Yeah.
But what we're looking at today is how that micro moment is actually a symptom of this massive cultural struggle we are all living through.
Yeah, it's really not just about being lazy or being full of energy. It's about two totally opposing life philosophies fighting for control of your schedule.
So today we are doing a deep dive into a really fascinating conversation from Nagi and Maki's Life Talk, specifically their 6th episode.
And this is a super unique source for us today because Nagi and Maki, they're actually creating content for English learners.
Which I know might sound a bit basic for a deep dive, but just stick with us.
Yeah.
It's actually the superpower of this source. Because when you have to explain complex emotional struggles to someone learning a language, you can't really hide behind fancy corporate jargon.
Right. No buzzwords.
Exactly. You have to strip the idea down to its core. So Nagi and Maki take these heavy, complicated feelings about burnout and ambition, and they break them down into very clear, very relatable terms.
They simplify the language, which honestly just clarifies the psychology for all of us. The mission for today is to explore this tug of war, the conflict between striving, working super hard, and lying flat, which is doing the bare minimum.
And the really big question we want to answer is there a middle ground? Or are we just kind of doomed to bounce back and forth between exhaustion and guilt forever?
But before we get into the heavy analysis, I want to ask you and the listener the exact same question Nagi and Maki asked right at the start of their episode. It's kind of a vibe check.
Go for it.
Right now, wherever you are you full of energy or are you just tired?
And if the answer is I am completely drained, that is totally valid.
100%.
In fact, that exhaustion is pretty central to why this whole conversation matters. So let's look at the first army in this war. The pressure to work hard. The source calls it striving.
Striving. Now, I want to challenge this right out of the gate. Striving is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Biologically, we're designed to strive. We want to build, achieve, gather.
Right.
If we didn't strive, we'd still be living in caves.
No, you're right. Ambition is totally natural. In the episode, they define striving simply as working very hard for a goal. And that is healthy. But the source material quickly pivots to show how this natural drive gets hijacked. It gets taken over by something else. Something much more modern and, honestly, much more toxic.
They use the term hustle culture.
Yes, hustle culture.
We hear this term literally everywhere now, but let's define it properly based on the source. How is hustle culture actually different from just, working hard?
Well, working hard is something you do. Hustle culture is something you are.
Oh, that's a good distinction.
Yeah, Nagi describes it as this constant unspoken rule that you must always be working. You must always be improving.
Like if you have a hobby, you should be making money from it.
Exactly. Or if you have free time, you should be learning a new skill. You can never just stop.
It's the total inability to just exist without producing some kind of value.
Right. It's this intense mindset that says, if you aren't hustling, you're losing. And what's fascinating in the source is how they pinpoint the engine that drives this. It's not just your own internal ambition.
No, it's external.
It's external pressure.
Yeah.
And it is massively amplified by technology.
You're talking about social media.
I am. Maki brings up a really sharp example in the episode. Imagine you open your phone. It could be like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday.
You're exhausted.
You're tired. You're in your pajamas. And you see a post.
Oh, the 5 a.m. routine video.
A 5 a.m. routine.
I see those all the time.
Or someone posting a picture of their laptop with a caption like, "The grind never stops." Or someone announcing they just bought a massive house at age 22.
And even if you're a rational adult, right? Even if you know that social media is just a highlight reel and not real life, it still does something to your brain.
It triggers a very primal fear. Maki calls it the feeling of falling behind.
Falling behind.
Because humans are social creatures. Thousands of years ago, if you fell behind your group, you didn't survive. Today, when we see everyone winning on our screens, that same exact survival instinct kicks in.
Wow.
We feel genuinely unsafe if we aren't keeping up.
So that ambition stops being about, hey, I want to achieve this cool thing, and it starts being about, I am terrified of being mediocre.
Precisely. It turns into pure stress. You start thinking, if I don't work this hard right now, I won't have a future. It puts you in survival mode.
And the source material points out that the human body just isn't designed to stay in survival mode forever.
No, the engine eventually blows out.
And that leads to the inevitable endpoint Nagy talks about, which is burnout.
Burnout.
And I feel like we use that word way too lightly nowadays. Like, oh, I had a busy morning. I'm so burnt out. I need a coffee. But they are talking about something much more serious here.
They really are. They define burnout as having absolutely no physical or mental energy left.
Zero.
Think of a car that has completely run out of gas. You can press the pedal down as hard as you want. You can yell at the car. You can get out and try to push it, but it is not going to move.
And naturally, in physics and in psychology, when a pendulum swings way too far to one side, like total, complete exhaustion, it has to swing back.
It does. And that brings us to the reaction, the second big concept of this deep dive. Lying flat.
I love this term, lying flat. It's such a strong image. I just picture someone looking at their massive to-do list, looking at their messy calendar, and just face planting right onto the carpet.
It's super visual. The term actually comes from a social movement in Asia, but the feeling itself is completely global. In the source, they define lying flat as a conscious choice to do the bare minimum and prioritize relaxation.
It's a refusal to participate in the race.
Exactly. And Nagy also connects this to another term that blew up recently in English-speaking countries, quiet quitting.
Okay, quiet quitting. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go ahead.
Because when I hear quiet quitting, and I think about how a lot of older generations react to it, it sounds like laziness. It sounds like you're basically scamming your employer.
Yeah, that is definitely the common critique, the whole nobody wants to work anymore speech.
Right. Like you're taking the paycheck, but you aren't giving the effort.
But the source material actually does a really great job of clearing up this misconception. Quiet quitting is honestly just a terrible marketing name for a very rational concept. It does not mean you actually stop doing your job.
So what does it mean to a beginner?
It means you stop doing the extra job.
Yeah.
You show up. You hit your deadlines. You are polite to your coworkers. But, and this is the key difference, you don't do the extra work that you aren't getting paid for.
So, no staying late.
Right. You don't stay until 7:30 just to look busy. You don't answer work emails on a Saturday morning.
So it's not really about being lazy at all. It's about acting your wage.
Acting your wage. I love that. Yes. It is actively choosing your mental health over climbing the corporate ladder.
So if hustle culture is saying yes to everything out of fear, lying flat is saying no to the extra stuff out of self-preservation.
Exactly. Markey describes it as a form of protest. It's basically a whole generation saying, I am tired of running a race where the finish line just keeps moving further away, so I am going to sit down.
Which honestly sounds fantastic. Just stopping. It sounds like paradise.
Doesn't it?
But, and here is the huge twist in the episode that I think creates the real conflict. Nagy and Maki argue that it isn't paradise. In fact, for a lot of people, lying flat is actually kind of miserable.
This was easily the most insightful part of the discussion for me. Because we all just assume that if we stop working, we will feel relaxed. That's the logical equation in our heads. Less work equals more peace.
But that's not what actually happened.
Not at all. Nagy admits that when he tries to just lie flat and do nothing, he doesn't feel zen. He feels guilty.
The guilt trap.
Yes, Maki completely backs him up on this. She describes lying in bed, physically resting her body, but her brain is just running a marathon.
Oh, I've been there.
She is thinking about the emails she isn't answering. She is thinking about how she should be doing laundry. She's thinking about all the people, quote-unquote, winning on the internet while she is losing in bed.
So you aren't actually resting. You are just stressing out in a horizontal position.
Stressing in a horizontal position. That is the perfect way to describe it. And this creates a really vicious cycle. The source material maps it out like a loop.
Let's walk through the loop step by step, because I think I've lived inside this exact loop for about 5 years now.
Okay, let's do it. Step 1, you work hard. You buy into the hustle culture. You really push yourself.
Right. Step 2, you get tired, which is natural.
Step 3, you decide to lie flat to recover. You just crash on the couch.
Step 4, you feel guilty about crashing. You start feeling like you're just wasting your life.
And that guilt is painful.
Hmm.
It's really uncomfortable. So step 5, to get rid of the guilt, you panic and you start working hard again to compensate for the rest you just took.
And the wheel just keeps turning.
And the tragedy of it is that you lose on both sides.
How do you mean?
Well, you aren't enjoying your work because you're exhausted, but you also aren't enjoying your rest because you're so guilty. You never actually recharge.
Wow. It's like having the Sunday scaries, but expanded to your entire life. You spend all your downtime just dreading your uptime.
Exactly. You are never fully present in either mode.
So the big question is, how do we break the loop? Did Nagi and Maki offer a way out, or are they just, observing the crash? Because I really don't want to leave you, the listener, just feeling seen, but completely hopeless.
No, thankfully, they did offer a solution. But I'll warn you, it sounds a little bit like a cliche until you really unpack what they mean.
Okay, give it to me. What is it?
Balance. Specifically, work-life balance.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That sounds like a motivational poster in a corporate break room. Remember your work-life balance.
It really does.
Yeah.
But they break it down into something super practical for beginners to grasp. The first thing is redefining what consistency actually looks like.
What do you mean by that?
We tend to think consistency means giving 100% effort every single day.
Right. If I only give 90% today, I failed.
But the source argues that it is totally acceptable and actually necessary to have striving days and lying flat days.
Oh, so mixing them up.
Yes. It isn't a binary choice of I am a hustler forever or I am a slacker forever. You can literally be both in the same week.
Okay, but how do you deal with the guilt on the lying flat days? Because just telling someone, hey, don't feel guilty is terrible advice. That's like saying, don't think of a pink elephant. You're going to think of it.
You're absolutely right. The human brain just doesn't work like that. And this is where they dropped my absolute favorite nugget of wisdom from the entire episode. This is the actionable advice. Nagi introduces a concept called active rest.
Active rest. Okay, how is that different from just, resting?
Well, usually when we think of resting or lying flat, we think of passive rest, doing absolutely nothing, staring at the ceiling.
Mindlessly scrolling through short videos on your phone for 3 hours.
The zombie mode, yes. And here's the psychological trick. When you go into zombie mode, your brain is understimulated. And when the brain is understimulated but also anxious, it turns on itself.
It starts looking for problems.
Exactly. It starts ruminating. It tells you, why are you sitting here? Look at that pile of laundry. You haven't called your parents in a week. You are so lazy.
So the silence and the stillness is actually the enemy there.
It is. Active rest is completely different. It means doing something engaging that isn't work.
Like what? Give me some concrete examples.
Going for a walk outside, painting a picture, cooking a really complex meal, playing a sport with friends.
Oh, wait, isn't that just doing stuff? If I'm already tired from working, why would I want to do more stuff? That sounds exhausting.
I know, that is the paradox.
Yeah.
It sounds totally like the opposite of what you'd expect, but when you engage in a hobby or some light activity, you occupy your mind.
Oh, I see.
You give that critical, anxious part of your brain a job to do, so it finally shuts up.
That makes so much sense. If I am focusing super hard on painting a straight line or chopping onions for a recipe, I literally can't focus on how much I hate myself for not answering emails.
Exactly. It allows you to enter a flow state. You get the emotional recovery because you were doing something just for joy, not for productivity. It completely breaks the guilt cycle because you aren't wasting time. You are actively using your time.
You are using time for yourself rather than just selling your time to your boss.
That is such a beautiful way to put it, yes.
This perfectly leads to the mindset shift Maki talks about toward the end of the source. She says we need to learn to be productive without being obsessed.
Productive without being obsessed. That is the golden mean right there.
It really reminds me of something else she pointed out, that ultimately this whole tug of war is a self-worth issue.
It really is. She has this wonderful moment where she reminds the listener that your value as a person is not defined solely by your work. You are allowed to just be.
That is a really radical statement today, to say you are allowed to just be, especially coming from a source designed for language learners.
Right.
Usually, educational materials are all about improve yourself, get better, study harder, optimize your routine.
It is radical. It's a gentle reminder that we are human beings, not human doings. Improvement is great. Striving is a good thing. But it cannot be the only thing that sustains your identity.
If you take away the job title, or if you take away the good grades, you must still have value as a person.
Exactly.
So if we zoom out a bit, what does this practically mean for you, the listener? Tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off at 6 a.m. and it's cold outside.
I think it means we stop trying to win the marathon every single morning. The source material really emphasizes that showing kindness to yourself is the most sustainable fuel you can have.
So maybe tomorrow you do get up and run.
And that's amazing. Strive, enjoy the endorphins, chase that big goal.
But maybe the next day you hit snooze, you sleep for an extra hour because your body needs it.
And that does not make you a failure. It just means you are recharging your battery. Nagi and Maki's advice is super simple at the end of the day. Listen to your own body, not the algorithm on your phone.
If you need to work hard, do it. If you need a nap, do it. But the key is to do it with what they call a happy heart.
A happy heart. I really love that phrasing. It basically means stripping away the guilt. If you are going to rest, you need to rest fully. Don't let the guilt steal your recovery time.
That's the biggest takeaway for me. Don't half rest. If you're going to lie flat, commit to the bit. Lie flat with total confidence.
Own your downtime.
We have covered a lot of ground today. We went all the way from the toxic pressures of hustle culture and the fear of falling behind to the quiet rebellion of lying flat, and finally landed on this great idea of active rest as the cure for the guilt loop.
It's a real journey, from seeking external validation to finding internal balance.
Before we sign off, we always like to leave you with a little homework for your brain, just something to chew on after you finish listening.
We talked a lot today about active rest, doing something just for the sheer joy of it to keep the guilt away.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of adults, we have actually forgotten what brings us joy.
Oh, definitely.
We have monetized all our hobbies.
That is so true. It's always like, oh, you like knitting, you should open an online shop. Oh, you like cooking, you need to start a food channel right now.
Exactly. We turned our play into our work. So here is our question for you to think about. If you could take the guilt completely away, if you knew you wouldn't be judged by anyone and you wouldn't feel like you were wasting your time, what hobby or activity would you actually want to do?
Not what you should do to be healthy or what you should do to be productive, but what would you do just because it makes you smile?
Maybe it's building a huge Lego set. Maybe it's reading those cheesy sci-fi novels. Maybe it's learning a new language just for the fun of how the words sound, not to put it on a resume.
Whatever it is, try to identify it. And maybe, just maybe, try to give yourself permission to do it for 20 minutes this week.
With a happy heart.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.